Hey guys, welcome to our podcast, A Sip of Aesthetics. I'm Dr. Abraham. I should introduce myself first. And I'm here with my friend Leslie. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
And this is our first episode, so we're just going to introduce the podcast a little bit and tell you kind of what this is all about and what we're going to be talking about. It's really about anti-aging and aesthetic and regenerative medicine, and it's such an amazing topic. I love it. I mean, I do it for a living, but there's so much, there's a lot of misinformation about it, but it's a topic that I think is of interest to almost everybody, I would say.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love all health, all beauty, but what really got you into this? Like, why did you decide to come into aesthetics?
So my personal kind of background, so I grew up in Michigan, and I went to medical school in Michigan, and initially I thought I wanted to do sports medicine, so I was kind of going down that path. I think I'm going to be a sports medicine physician. During my residency, when I was doing my rotations, I worked with a sports medicine doctor who kind of became like a mentor, but he wasn't really practicing traditional sports medicine. A lot of the things that and that was in Florida, in Miami. He used to work with a lot of athletes, and he used to do a lot of things like IV vitamin therapy, PRP, platelet-rich plasma, a lot of anti-aging therapies, and we'll talk more about these, therapies in coming episodes. But it was just so fascinating, right? So I was working with this doctor, and a lot of these treatments are now more common, but especially back then they were more. A lot of athletes were doing it. A lot of rich clienteles were doing it just because it was a lot more expensive too, so it wasn't as available.
And I think even 5-10 years ago, not a lot of people were talking about things like dermal fillers or very open about getting Botox. Whereas now I feel like everyone is just really comfortable talking about it. I think everyone's doing it, So I do think that. So why do you think that switch happened?
And even back then, it wasn't it is a little bit to Botox and filler, but I'd say it's even more to things like PRP and IV vitamin therapy and all that stuff. Because back then, it was really not a very well known thing in the mainstream as much as it is right now. And even for me, I was a little familiar with it, but even me going through med school, I hadn't seen these treatments as much. So when I saw him do it, day in and day out, and I saw all the, feedback, all the great feedback that he was getting from the client, kind of fell in love in it instantly. And that was kind of my initial, how I initially got into the field, into the anti-aging field in general. And then once I'm in the anti-aging field, I started to also learn more and incorporate aesthetics more, because to me aesthetics is just a subcategory of anti-aging. So I like to say that I practice anti-aging medicine, and part of that are things like regenerative medicine, whether it's things like platelet-rich plasma or IV vitamin therapy, things that are more systemic at points. And big part of that is aesthetic, which again, as I started to get more into it, I fell in love more and more into it. But that's kind of the story of how it started. And luckily too, is people are starting to, like I said, when I was doing that rotation, I feel like the clientele was just more limited, again, because it wasn't as widely available, so only certain people kind of had access to it.
Yeah, I think also social media helped that, right? So a lot of people are posting, these treatments on that they're getting the treatment. I know a lot of famous people came out and openly got treatments like vampire facial. I think that was one of the big popular ones that came out. Mm-hmm. And I think once people saw okay, this is how these stars are staying young and look so beautiful and their skin's awesome, they started saying okay, I want my skin to be like that, and started to get treatments like this, right?
100%. And I think also that once the field became more well known, a lot of these treatments also became more affordable.
Yeah, and accessible to them.
So that also helps. There's obviously more research to right now because it's been a few years. So I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, but it's definitely a field that's continuing to grow. Like we haven't
Yeah.
reached the end of it yet.
I mean, no, there's like treatments popping up all over the place, right? Like new machines, new treatments, new med spas. It's like now there's like one in every corner, I feel.
Yeah.
So what would you say makes, you different and new med spa different?
So I love this field, and I really, really mean it, and I've been in it for a long time. Um, I think with this field, because it's still also relatively new, like I really think it's very important to, if you are getting treatment, if you're doing something, that you are dealing with somebody who's really like passionate about that field, just because like to get the right treatment, a lot of it isn't just as straightforward as some other aspects of medicine. Like it's not like it's part art. There's an art to it. There really is. It's not just like, it's not 100% science. It's like science and art, and there are so many different tools. There are tools that we know are effective. There are tools that sometimes, like in these episodes, we're going to be talking about different topics, and some topics are just like trends that just pop up, but they're not as effective as some like more traditional treatments. So it's about like also finding the right balance between having the latest technologies, but at the same time, like not just following a trend just because it's a trend, if that makes sense. Like not just given, anytime because there's also like sometimes treatments that pop up that haven't been proven. And we've seen that. We've seen things that come up for like 6 months and everybody like is excited about them, and then like 6 months later they're gone. They're not there anymore. You don't hear about them anymore because it was just like something that popped up, and it wasn't really backed up by evidence. There wasn't really any good reason to believe that it's a good treatment. It was more just marketing, and then it's people realize that it doesn't work. So
and I do love that about new med spa, right? We have such a variety of different treatments, anything from injectables, from laser machines to, body contouring. And I think that's really going to help, us do these types of episodes, because we have a lot of knowledge of, what's out there, what works, what doesn't work.
For sure. It is about, again, like doing the stuff that work, and at the same time being using the latest technology. Like when a treatment does work, because when it comes to things like PRP, platelet-rich plasma or something, a lot of these treatments, it's not always created equal. So like it really makes a difference where you get it, because the quality of the treatment is gonna be different.
Exactly.
And like a lot of it is hands-on. We're not just like prescribing a medication. We're actually doing the treatment. If we're doing a filler, we're actually inserting the filler. We're going in the face. We're injecting it. So even like injecting it a millimeter, not in the right place, a millimeter like outside of where it should be, is going to make a difference in the face.
And I do love that you mentioned that, because like you said, machines, Botox, dermal fillers can be found in a lot of places, right? So you can go to, somewhere near you, but it's also about the provider, right? So who's injecting, how much experience you have, how much experience the company has, So that's also important.
And the quality of the laser, that's a great example, because not all lasers are created equal. There's always new lasers coming up and stuff. So the point is, it's a big field.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of trust your provider, because you, as a client, like it's going to be almost impossible for you to like know what all the treatments are, what all the different types of lasers are. Whether you are getting like the best laser or not, whether you're getting the best quality, you have to be informed. You have to do your research, but that's why you need to go to a place where you can trust that person actually has your best interest in mind. They're not taking shortcuts. They are providing the best type of lasers, the best type of treatments, and that they can guide you. They can give you the right advice as you get your treatments.
Yeah, I get that. So what brought you here? So to California, to Westlake, to Encino.
Los Angeles, it's
LA.
a dream.
Yeah.
LA, yeah, that's
From
what's
Michigan.
better?
That's a far drive.
Yeah,
What
it
brought
is.
you to
It's far.
LA?
I like Michigan too, but LA is
I
different,
mean,
right? LA
LA
is
is better.
unique.
It's always better
LA
in
is
LA,
beautiful,
right?
and it's a hub for these kind of treatments. A lot of like the new treatments, a lot of the companies, they have headquarters in LA, and so a lot of the conferences that are always happening
Yeah.
are happening, in this area. I love LA. I love it. It was because of that field. And New Med Spa, the specific spa that we're in, it has its own unique story too. When we came to LA and started that.
So yeah, I mean, our first location we opened in Thousand Oaks, and this was what, into 2019?
It's very interesting
August,
because it
September,
was
yeah.
September of 2019 was when it first opened.
Yeah.
But even then, it was like a soft opening, and grand opening was in February of
I know.
2020.
Yeah, we had our first party then.
And 2 weeks later, so when we did the grand opening, we were starting to hear about that virus that's starting out in like Asia and certain parts,
Yeah.
something called like a COVID-19 or something, and that was just starting to happen, I think in February, but it wasn't really what it later turned out to be. And so we had like a grand opening scheduled for February, and we finally like, because it was a lot of work, obviously, opening and getting
it was
ready.
our first big party, and we went through with it. I mean, we had the party, and it was a great success. And then two weeks later, COVID happened.
COVID happened.
Yeah.
And we had to shut down. And
Yeah.
it was, I mean, it's a good thing we survived it, because a lot of businesses didn't survive it, especially having only started a few months before. So it's not like we've had 10 years of experience, or 10 years of the business being there. So we had just started, and it was a big hit, but we survived.
Yeah,
We
we were
survived.
fairly new, but we were very grateful, to our patients and to the people that stuck around. But yeah, I feel like since then, we've grown so much, and even outgrew that Thousand Oaks location, because we only had 4 treatment rooms, I believe.
Yeah, so
So we decided to move over to Westlake, and now we have 10 treatment rooms where we're able to offer so many services. What are some of your favorite services that we offer?
sure. So, that's the thing about this field. That's what I love, is that there's, almost anything that's non-surgical, we kinda have in a way. So things for skin resurfacing, obviously injectable. So things like neuromodulator, Botox fillers. We do a lot of these, a lot of different types of laser, whether it's things like laser hair removal or resurfacing. Skin resurfacing, pigmentation treatments, tattoo removal, treatments like RF microneedling, again for skin rejuvenation. As I've mentioned initially, part of the reason I got into this field to start with was because of the anti-aging and regenerative medicine. So that always will have a special place in my heart. So things like PRP, platelet-rich plasma, not just for kind of the cosmetic treatments. We do a lot of these. But even for things, sometimes, for joint pain, joint rejuvenation, for the right type of clients, we offer a lot of PRP. IV vitamin therapy is a very common treatment that we do, and a lot more.
Yeah. What's your favorite treatment to get? I mean, mine is Botox, obviously. But what makes you look so young?
I love almost everything that we do. That's one of the great things about being being in a med spa like this. All of these treatments that we've talked about, these are all going to be topics that we're gonna dive into each one of them in coming episodes. I mean, that's what the podcast is about. It's about providing this information and educating people about the different treatments that are out there. I personally love the NAD IV therapy. I know this is something that's actually super common right now. It always makes me smile, but I love that we've been offering it for a long time. And a lot of times, these things that are starting to quote unquote trend and become popular, right now, we've been doing for a while. So I love that.
Yeah, that is
It just
awesome.
makes me happy. But that's kind of like what I was talking about before with like going to a place where the person isn't just doing something because it's a trend. Like they're actually, because a lot of the NAD therapy, and I'm just using that as an example. A lot of the reason it works, like we've knew for a while, it's not just stuff that came out like last year, even though last year is popular.
I think it's just like one viral video and then, now everybody wants it.
But the reason we were offering it is because we've done our research. We know, it's something that a lot of people want it and that has a lot of promise to it. But it is something that I still do, that I love to do. I just feel great about it. NAD is a molecule that is found in all our living cells, and it plays a key role when it comes to cellular energy, how our cells do whatever it is that they're doing, interacting with other cells. And there's a lot of research that suggests that our NAD levels kind of decrease as we age, and that can be associated with a lot of the signs of aging. And so an NAD IV therapy is going to allow you to replenish some of the NAD supply that you lose with age.
So would you say it's like an internal anti-aging treatment?
I would say, I'd say that's one of the internal anti-aging treatments.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the more like systemic ways to treat it. Because still things like, Botox for wrinkles or certain lasers for like brown spots are great, but they're going to address maybe like skin changes that we see. But I love it when we have treatments that are going to address things at the root cause. And I think NAD is definitely one of these
and I love this because we're going to be able to do, dive deeper into topics like these every week. I think we're going to have these episodes every Monday.
Yeah. So every Monday, tune in. We'll talk about a different subject. If there's any subject that you guys want us to talk about, let us know and we'll make sure to include it.
Yeah, mention it in the comments.
Make sure you tune in for these episodes every Monday. Like, subscribe, follow. If you are in the Los Angeles area, look us up, NU Med Spa, and make sure you stop by.
Follow us on Instagram.
Mention the podcast if you stop by, and I know you'll get like special discounts, special pricing. But follow us, and we're gonna be talking about. I think we'll start maybe with like Botox next and fillers. These are very common topics.
Yeah, we're gonna do this every week, so we'll be able to chat and dive deeper into any topic.
Perfect.
Which I love that. But thank you so much for having me.
Of course, my pleasure.